You'll hear me now.
Ah.
You can hear me, right?
Yep.
So, and that's what you want to hear, the voices, your tone of voice, everything. But Bud's resume is second to none. When I met him, he like fell out of the sky for the Better Business Bureau, honestly. So,
Wow.
So let's take your microphone and get it right in front of your face. And give me some 1, 2s.
1, 2, 1, 2. Test.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
at 5 minutes to go, I hold it right. This is 30 minutes, don't forget. So
Okay.
there's a little longer. I'll go like that so he knows to start winding it down with you.
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready, guys. Everybody's mic's on. Yep.
Welcome to Anatomy of a Business, a discussion of the businesses that serve our community, focusing on their challenges and their successes. I'm Bud Myers from Virginia Breeze Broadcasting, and joining me is Barry Moore, CEO of the BBB of Central Virginia. Barry, thanks so much for allowing us to do this here at the Ignite Studios.
Bud, you're always here earlier than me. I don't know how you do it. I get paid, you don't. I don't know how this happens.
Well, I'm scared of you.
Don't tell my bosses. Anyway, they're probably listening. But this segment is incredible. Everyone we've done, every AB accredited business that has participated in this has shown what they really know about business. I think they walk out of here, Bud, with some questions about themselves. Where did they learn that? How did they overcome that? And that's what you bring out. So with that, let's do it.
All right, good deal. Today, I'm very interested in this conversation because we have the Credit Restoration Institute here. Robert Linkonis is here, who's a veteran of this area. And it's an area that too many people wait until the last minute instead of planning and understanding what situation they're in. And this is a company that helps you finally understand where you stand. And I'm looking forward to that. Robert, thanks for being here.
But Bud and Barry, thanks for having me. Very much, I'm honored.
I've got to start it off with actually your website and the statement that's made on the website because I think it's phenomenal. So I'm going to read it to you. This is part of the welcome on the page, and it says, "The Credit Restoration Institute contributes to the public good through its programs and services designed to heal and restore hope and health to the lost, hurting, disenfranchised, and those suffering from depression and anxiety, fear, hopelessness, suicidal, and other self-destructive behavior, health issues relating to financial stressors." That is huge.
I 100% agree, and those words were, well, written not primarily. It's more of a joint effort between our board chair, Dr. Kathy Hughes, and myself. Logic would assume that if you had credit issues, if you had credit challenges, then you have a degree of stress, some anxiety, depression, some hopelessness, just because of the situation. Logic would assume, but there hadn't been before us a scientific study that conclusively proves the correlation between improving creditworthiness and reduction of some of the root causes of suicide. Now, so back in 2016, Kathy found me. She called the office out of the blue, frantic. I have this issue on my credit. I don't know what to do. I found you online. Can you help me with this? I don't know this. I've never had any issues with credit in my entire life, and this is just freaking me out, quote unquote, so to speak. And so she comes. I said, well, come on to the office. Come on in. So she comes in, and I looked at it. The situation. It was a small. I knew the collection agency, and we just picked up the phone, worked it out. She goes, oh yeah, okay, that was the whatever. Okay, so we settled it. We paid the settlement. I knew it was going to come off the credit report. We did a custom dispute letters to the credit bureaus right then, and she sits back and goes, oh my gosh, this was amazing, and I feel so much better now. And she goes, I just started last night to frame my PhD dissertation, and it was going to be on suicide prevention, primarily military suicide prevention. But she said, no one has done a study on how credit worthiness
Lack of it.
right, and conversely credit unworthiness and the correlation between some of the root causes of suicide. And so, I'd like to do the dissertation if you would host me. And so for a year and a half, I gave her one of the offices in my building, and about 300 or so of our customers over a year and a half period, pre-test and post-test. How do you feel now? Okay, where's your credit score? How do you feel throughout the entire process? And so, year and a half, we have a study that conclusively proves, scientific study published in the Journal of Accounting and Finance at the Library of Congress, scientific work that conclusively proves that improving creditworthiness reduces some of the root causes of suicide. And so we're the only ones that have that. Not that. So that's one of the main reasons why we even transitioned to become a nonprofit organization in 2018, is to help for research grants, technical assistance grants, and capacity building grants in order to do the next phase of this research study from a local study to a much larger regional and then possibly even a national research study. 300 or so people is one thing, but 3 million people is another study.
So becoming a nonprofit actually expanded your service base and things you could do.
Well, very, very much so, because a nonprofit allows us to have government sponsorships, government grants. All banks have to comply with what's called the Community Reinvestment Act,
Okay.
which would mean giving back to the community, and that's done through nonprofits.
Okay.
Now, they don't just, I didn't become a nonprofit just to get money, and you don't just get money. You've got to get the
work
money.
for it.
Oh, you've got to, you've got to.
There's a lot there.
Any other nonprofits understand what I mean by that pause.
Yeah.
Money doesn't just, but it does come, and it's to accomplish the vision, the mission of it, and how do we help more people, and that's really the foundation of where we all come from by heart.
You talked about Kathy. Can you just enlighten us a little bit about how you put this group together, how the group came together? Because you've got some pretty dynamic folks that are on the board, and your staff and partners.
Thanks, Bud. It started with my years in the car business. I was from the mid-1990s all the way up.
He's one of those guys, but
Yeah.
I was going to say, does this same thing start from being a disgruntled salesman?
Well. The funny thing, it started promptly when I was a 18-year-old young adult, and I promptly defaulted on my very first piece of credit because they should not have given me credit back then because they were not going to get paid back.
Right.
But that's life, and
Right.
then I immediately just became fascinated because I couldn't, as a new young father, I couldn't purchase the things that we needed to essentially to have a family back then, and I just became fascinated with the machinations of the credit system.
Mm-hmm.
And when I entered the car business because I looked, how could I make the most money back then as a young, and I could sell, and so I sold for about a year and a half or so, but I promptly moved into special finance, which is the dealing with credit issues. And
Now, was this in this area, or was it somewhere else?
No, it was all in Richmond, and it was all from one particular dealer group. I was at 3 different stores of the one dealer group, same dealership owner for the entire 17
You can
years.
mention the group if you want.
Was it the Pearson Automotive Group?
Okay, great.
They're I was with Pearson my entire career.
Okay.
And in 2008, the economy went off the proverbial cliff, as anyone might remember
Right.
those years. And but I had so many people call me all the time. Hey, Robert, can you fix my wife's credit, my husband's credit, my business partner's credit? and it's like, okay, well, come on in. It was a sales opportunity. Come on in. Let's see if we can get you financed in this brand new, whatnot. But in 2008, no one was buying cars. I mean, it was just, and I was getting, the phone was just ringing off the hook. Can you fix my credit? Because I want to take advantage of all these foreclosures that are just coming onto the market. And in 2008, 9, and 10, those 3 years, I realized, oh my gosh, I could do this as a business. And there was no other, I didn't have anyone to look up to follow their example. The credit repair industry was full of basically scammers.
Right.
And so, well, I'm not like that at all. And never, but I was like, okay, I had 40, 45 or so people who wanted to hire me, but I couldn't really.
You didn't have the vehicle.
Well, yeah, I couldn't run a side business out of the F&I office of a dealership. So I had to make a decision, and my wife took early retirement from DuPont, and she was at that level at that point, and we were lucky that early retirement gave her a 1-year salary of what she was currently making on her average annual for the previous 5-year average. And so we figured let's just take the plunge. And that's what I would recommend on business for any business owner. Just do it.
Right.
I sat in the dealership for almost 2 years, and my wife would be, look, will you resign already? You've said it 1,000 times. Will you just go and do this thing? And so I started, and it has been a success. It has been a success for the last 18 years.
And how did you get these other people involved?
Things just happened. In the last 18 years, I've had 2 different growth spurts, so to speak, starting in 2010 through 2014 we grew real fast, and we had some of the wrong people attracted with I wasn't really a human resource manager. I mean, I was really good at getting people approved for things and figuring out how to get the peg into the hole, so to speak. I mean, I was very good at, I still am really good at how do I get someone approved for things. But big growth a lot of times leads to problems, and it's like the success isn't just straight up. If you look at it, I would ask people all the time when I was back in the car business, and it's like, and I knew they were business owners, and say, hey, what was the biggest obstacle that you overcame to get to where you are now? Or I would joke and say, yeah, it was easy becoming successful in this business, wasn't it? And then husband and wife would look at each other and go, ha! And I know exactly what they mean, because in 18 years you experience it. One of the most important, and then you realize you got to pay your taxes. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's,
right,
when it's owed, because that's one of the biggest lessons I had to learn back in 2012. But it's dealt with, and you learn from it. Okay. And one of the that was one big iteration. Then we scaled back for a couple of years, and then we grew again to $1 million business, and I ended up selling that business in 2009. We became a nonprofit. I'm sorry, not 2019. We became a nonprofit in 2018 because of Kathy's research study, not because that's how I was positioning or transitioning the business. We became the 501c3 with the intention of advancing the research study, but then I had an opportunity to work with a publicly traded corporation who wanted to add credit repair as a side venture or a new product and service.
Okay.
And so I flew back and forth to Dallas 45 or so times over the 2019 year, building the call center, and my for-profit was sold to this conglomerate in order to get me to build the call center. And so the research study nonprofit got put on hold while I was going through this exercise, and that was my first experience with big corporate, how big corporate works. And I was at the director level, and what they call the C-suite. The C-suite wing was all the chiefs and then the directors. And so I got to experience big corporate and realized that this is a heartless, cold corporation. And then COVID hit back in 2020.
Right, the big one.
And all new products or services got cut. And this particular corporation, it was a tax company, and this particular, it just had a disaster tax year because no one was going into the tax offices and buying and doing anything in February, March, and April of 2020. They were doing their taxes at home. I think TurboTax blew up back then with business because it was easy. But then, okay, so then now all new products are cut. Robert, I know we're going to ignore your non-compete. Just don't compete. We can't tell you can't do this anymore because that's what you've been doing your entire adult life. And so what I did was then I pulled the nonprofit off the shelf and I said, you know what? Let's completely pivot. We have new systems. Let's truly become how we've envisioned this to start with, as a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started going down the road with, all right, IRS code 501Q, just if anybody wants to look that up, says that a standalone credit repair organization cannot be a nonprofit as the core business. And so that's 501Q.
Okay.
And but it says you can perform the service as what's quote unquote an incidental part of your program. Incidental meaning minor. Okay, great. Well, we're the professionals at it, so we started networking with every other nonprofit organization in the city of Richmond, and in fact, the city of Richmond is one of our biggest partners. And we've developed that relationship over the last 4 years. But all other nonprofits, financial opportunity centers, which are called FOCs, and housing counseling agencies all have their credit person or a couple of credit people, usually someone who's watched some YouTube videos and think they know enough to be dangerous. That's the way I see it. It's not. I mean, we've had our partner attorney for the last 18 years. Jason and I have been together for 18 years. Jason's a fair credit and fair debt lawyer. He is a hammer, and that's real credit repair. Isn't just a magic wand waving over a credit report. It's what is wrong on a report, what does not get fixed, and how can we enforce the law, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, to get a credit report accurate, which is all we're wanting to do. But my point is we started, all right, let's start networking with other nonprofits, and our bigger hook was, hey, when you have someone that you just don't know what to do with, I mean, how do you get these 3 evictions off of someone's rental and public record? Well, how do we get judgments vacated? Well, we're really good with the specialized, unique, complicated situations. And so we became the best friend of every other local nonprofit because of the niche that we had. And so then I realized, well, I mean, you can do all the credit repair you want, you just can't charge the customer specifically for that. Although a lot of customers come to us, okay, I want you to fix my credit. I have a house. I don't need a housing counseling program or a financial opportunity program. But if you're in our program, you're in our program. And that's you just have to accept the counseling as part of our program.
Got it. Let's just go back just a bit. As you started the business, as you said, there are a lot of people out there with credit restoration. And I don't want to say nefarious, but certainly...
Well, it's easy to sell a dream.
Right, exactly.
And that's unfortunate too, when in any industry. I mean, just a storm blow through, and if you have not the night before last, and you can have someone knock on your door, I'll get that tree out of your yard, give me $1,000.
Exactly.
I'll be by on Saturday, and they just vanish.
Exactly. So my question is, how, when you came right out of the chute, doing something totally different, okay, unknown commodity as far as the business, how did you begin to establish that you weren't those guys?
It takes, you just have to, you have to network. You have to be known. People have to know you.
Mhm.
You have to, all of my employees from when we started were all in a networking group. We primarily gravitated toward BNI, Business Networks International, was our primary group that everyone had to belong to a group in order to get our name out there. Because now most of our clients are referred by mortgage companies and banks, and real estate agents. Those are our three primary referral sources. Source of our clientele, and they're not just going to send. No one will refer anyone to anyone if they think that person being referred is going to have a bad experience or is going to have because they're adding their weight
Oh, for sure.
and their reputation on the referral. So you have to earn the
Directly reflects
referral.
on them.
Exactly. And then word of mouth. Hey, who do you use for credit repair? I've got this person that I need to send somewhere, because in the mortgage industry, the commissions are decent.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't have anything with a customer, what do you do with the customer? Well, here's a list of all the things that you could do. Good luck, and maybe I'll see you again. But immediately they're forgetting and moving on to the next individual.
Well, you're the known entity, okay? And so did your culture evolve by just showing and doing, or did you have a method to establish a business culture?
No, I've done everything by reading books and trial and error, pretty much. I was an employee for my whole life until I started this, and then that's been 18 years ago. I did not have any type of a plan. Things came together back in the early 2010s, and I grew way too fast. I brought on someone who I thought was going to be an operations manager, who eventually turned out to become a competitor and take people with him, and it's been trial and error. I mean, one of the
but I'm sorry. The one thing that Robert, again, don't forget, 40 years in the business, I've hired, trained, developed, worked with, and fired people like Robert, right? Special finance, and there is something that comes across very quickly about a background. You can't make it up.
Right.
I did, 40 years plus. I never changed who I was. I think Robert is the same kind of person, and that's what translates over into this industry, because of everything that's around credit is so critical. And there's not very many people that can do what he has the knowledge to do. So I think that's what he's built his career on, and that's from the outside looking in, because I know a lot of Roberts, and only a couple good ones. And I think that's important, that they have the right heart and the right wisdom. Everybody likes to make money. Money's the end result of doing everything else right.
Exactly.
And so I think that's what you find out interviewing with him.
Well, being a BBB member.
That's a good point, because I think if he would have known the BBB, if the BBB what it is today with Barry Moore at the lead, and it's not about my ego, it's about my team, he never would have wasted time maybe in all other areas. We could have taken a trajectory quicker, because people want to deal with the method of trust.
Got it. Let me ask you this, because you're dealing with businesses, and one of the things that states here is that you help folks understand their financial position. In what ways don't they understand where they are?
Look, a lot of things are not taught in schools. Basic financial literacy is required, but when but understanding the credit system. When a young adult graduates from high school and is going off to college, at college there you have the credit card issuers just throwing credit cards at you, or here sign up for a credit card and get a T-shirt, and then sometimes if they didn't have grounding in what could happen, they'll get that credit card and it might have $1,000 limit, and that'll buy, pizza and whatever for a few weeks until that limit is reached, and then the card doesn't work anymore. Okay, let's put it in the drawer. They don't know what and a bill comes in the mail. Oh gosh, $39. I only have $40 in my. I'm not
Right.
paying it to. They don't. And then promptly things go into default, and so what we're trying to develop as the Institute is a curriculum that educates the people on who are the credit bureaus, who is Experian. When I was in the car business, actually before the car business, there was a credit bureau called TRW, Thompson Ramo Woolridge, a conglomerate that collected and sold data using the brand new technology, the fax machine back in the 80s. And so promptly, it merged and eventually became Experian, and then Equifax, TransUnion, educating the people on who the credit bureaus are. In 2025, Experian made $6.25 billion of revenue selling data. And we are their customer and their commodity. The people don't know this everybody needs to understand how the system works. The credit bureaus, Experian makes $6.25 billion in a large part by selling credit reports to banks who are also publicly traded companies. JP Morgan Chase made $45 billion in 2025. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, buy millions of credit reports from the credit bureaus daily in order to make a lending decision based on a 3-digit score.
Okay.
And so this is what we're trying to bring. Real education of real life of how the world exists.
We're going to run over, but I have to
sorry.
ask this question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm learning so much. One of the planks that you talk about is analyzing or getting prepared for home ownership. As
Yes.
you said. What's going on today is just blowing me away. Home ownership. My niece just bought her first house and it was over $500,000. So when you're looking at, I think the rule of thumb is 25% of your income or something of that nature is what you should budget out of your overall income. Aren't we putting the vast majority of Americans in credit situation right off the bat?
Well, a lot of times it's not affordable housing; it's available housing too. That's another thing. And also, Bud, we are a new HUD certified housing counseling agency. We became HUD certified in mid-April, just a few months ago. So
Okay.
we are the newest HUD agency, and so that automatically elevates us to a housing counseling level where we're now on our 3rd growth iteration right now, and the education of, you can tell someone all you want to, hey, don't stop at Starbucks and get the coffee. Use the little K pods at your house, or use.
Right.
But you can tell them all you want to, but that's necessary. They need to hear discipline.
Absolutely.
That you got to live within your means, and then it might, if it goes out the other ear, eventually, if they hear it from enough places, it'll stick.
The greatest thing we did here is our partners and their sponsors of the Ignite program, the Virginia Credit Union, all right? And we brought a program in for our employees to set up a budget and to save, because 7 out of 10 Americans don't have $1,000.
Right.
I am proud to say in July of 26, 1 year later, every one of my employees have $1,000 in savings, if not more. Because you know what it created, and you know this already, by giving that discipline in the bank, $20 every paycheck, and then we doubled it. We got them to 1,000 as an employer. They gave more money, and they are thanking me for helping them have a savings account. And 50 years ago, I didn't know what it was, And but the one thing I'm curious on a small business, as an accredited business, you want to grow, right? What does it take for a small business owner to put a plan? We had Debbie Johnston here last week with Rick Chess and had a great conversation. Had a lot of people here, and it was about having a business plan in writing. And I'm curious, with the Institute, what have you put together? Obviously, with HUD, you had to more than convince or sell them, you had to prove to them. What's your advice to these small businesses? Because that's all I represent. I got some big ones, but I represent the small ones.
Yeah. In order to become HUD certified, HUD wanted HUD calls it a work plan, and the work plan is what are you going to do? And we had to be very detailed of how you're going to do it. It's any objective. Everyone's heard eat the elephant one bite at a time. But how if you want to go somewhere, where do you want to be at? It's called vision. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go to? Crystallize it, get it very, very clear. So you don't even have to have a vision board. You know where you want to go and have it so clear, and then back it down to exactly where you are now and how are you going to get there and how long do you want to take to get there. That's really the key thing. And then that's broad brush, but it's going to take some work, and you have to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, then you're not going to get anything because you don't know what you want.
Well, in finalizing this and putting it together, we started this off with people who are, as far as suicidal or having tremendous pressure and stress. We know that if you have that, you certainly can't manage your business.
That's right.
You're taking away all of your energy, all of these things that are going to affect long-term your business anyway. So I guess my final question is for all those businesses that are out there that just haven't acknowledged it to themselves yet, what should they look inward to themselves to know that they need to come see you?
To have any now as a business, you know that you're going to need credit in some way, in some fashion. Credit allows a business owner to take advantage of opportunities that he or she would not have if credit did not exist. And so the important thing is, and you're not going to get any substantial amounts of business credit without good personal credit. Business credit is credit that's in the business owner's, it's in the business's employer identification number, not the business owner's social security number. Although you're going to need to co-sign, or you're going to have your personal credit looked at before obtaining any substantial business financing to make sure that the business owner is fiscally responsible. The bank's going to look at personal credit, whether you're required to co-sign or not. So you want as high a possible credit score. Understanding how the score is computed is one of my specialties. I would love to, anyone that wants a credit report reviewed just to look and see how we can maximize the score. We don't charge anything for consultations. I would love to talk to anyone who would need. Like I mentioned, we are full partners with the City of Richmond, and we've done a business credit cohort for the Office of Minority Business Development, Pat Foster's team in the city, and they sponsored a 6-week class that we did for business owners, and it was all about development of business credit, improvement of personal credit, enhancement of personal credit, understanding business credit and opportunities that credit gives a business owner. And I'd be honored to talk to anyone who needs expert advice in this field.
Robert Linkonis with the Credit Restoration Institute. Boy, see, went 30 minutes and I finally bangled it out there. Anyway,
I've been doing it for 3 months now.
Robert Linkonis, so much this company offers. Please look into their business. For Anatomy of a Business, I'm Bud Myers with Barry Moore of the BBB. Thank you for listening. Until next week, bye-bye.
Great job, Robert.
Oh, thank
Great
you.
job.